and welcome to the first edition of Panther Sports Monthly. I'm Austin Ford.
And I'm Jeff Gilley. Panther Sports Monthly is run and produced by the High Point University chapter of the National Sportscasters and Sports Writers Association. We will be bringing you the best coverage of all the athletic happenings at High Point University through unique and in-depth stories about the campus and its athletes.
The stories we will be sharing with you highlight the best and brightest students at High Point University and chronicles their journeys through athletics. These stories will be brought to you by some of the best sports journalists the university has to offer.
Today's show features the inspiring story of a young man who, despite suffering through a tragic fire accident, has found a home with the HPU men's lacrosse team, as well as the success story of the university's club rowing team.
But we start with national news. The Major League Baseball playoffs are underway in both the American and National Leagues as the drama of October baseball unfolds. The Los Angeles Dodgers are on to the NLCS following a 3-1 series victory over the Atlanta Braves, clinching the series in LA with a 4-3 victory on October the 7th. The Dodgers, who outscored the Braves by 12 runs, await the winner of the Pittsburgh-St. Louis series, with the Pirates and Cardinals heading to a fifth and deciding game in St. Louis on October the 9th. The Pirates send out rookie Garrett Cole, who won Game 2, while the Cardinals counter with ace and Game 1 winner Adam Wainwright. In the American League, the Detroit Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays face elimination heading into October 8th action. The Tigers trail 2 games to 1 against the Oakland Athletics, while the Rays find themselves down to the Boston Red Sox by the same margin. The Red Sox have outscored the Rays 24-10 in the series, while the Tigers have only been able to muster 6 runs against the Athletics pitching staff.
Moving right along to the National Football League, where the quarter mark of the season has passed. Some surprises, such as the early success of the Cleveland Browns, have emerged, but the major storyline has to be the greatness of Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos moved to 5-0 in the season following a thrilling 51-48 victory over the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, in which Manning threw for 4 more scores, bringing his season total to a staggering 20 touchdowns as the Broncos survived the career day from Tony Romo. The Kansas City Chiefs and New Orleans Saints remain the 2 undefeated teams through 5 weeks of the NFL season, while the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants remain winless.
As we look now at the college football landscape, we are 6 weeks in and still no closer to determining a frontrunner in the last year of the BCS. Alabama and Oregon have occupied the top 2 spots in the polls each week, while Clemson, Ohio State, Stanford, Florida State, and Louisville all remain undefeated and reside in the top 10. The play of quarterback Jameis Winston has vaulted the Florida State freshman to the front of the Heisman Trophy race as his 17 touchdowns put him ahead of Louisville sensation Teddy Bridgewater and Oregon standout Marcus Mariota in the category, 2 players who were considered frontrunners at the beginning of the season. When we return on Panther Sports Monthly, we'll have the inspirational story of Connor McKimmey that you won't want to miss. Welcome back into Panther Sports Monthly. The story of Connor McKimmey is one that chronicles how a young man had his life changed forever, but did not let adversity deter his dreams. Sierra Ewert has the story.
Connor McKimmey was your typical 13-year-old boy who had a strong passion for sports. On one cold December night, his world came crashing down, and his life would be forever changed.
It was a great day leading up until about 8 o'clock. I was hanging out with the girl, so I was texting her all day, making sure we had the plans out, what we were going to do for the whole night. I was going to make a little fire. We were going to sit out there and talk, maybe watch a movie or do whatever. I mean, your typical 13-year-old date.
Exactly.
I was just trying to be romantic as best I could. I was pumped because I was like, this is a really cute girl. I'm excited to be there, and I'm hoping it all works out. So I came home, I showered, I put on, a nice shirt, brushed my teeth, combed my hair, the basic stuff, so I was looking really, really good. It was just really hard to get a spark, so I was getting cold, so I brought the space heater close to me. So at this point, there's a lot of sparks going on because you have the fire, me trying to light it, it's really, really windy, and then the space heater's there, and after, I was lighting it, and then there was just a big whoosh, and what ended up happening was there was a explosion between the space heater and the fire, and what ended up happening was I was caught between the two. From then on, I don't really know how long I was actually engulfed in flames, but I know that my mom jumped out of the window on our first floor to try to push me down. And my next door neighbor was actually a firefighter, so he rushed over with a bunch of wet towels and tried to put out, the fire on me. For me, anytime I try to recall it, it seemed only like a minute or so, but I really don't know how long I was actually burned. But I remember that so vividly, just the first thing I see after having my eyes shut and just knowing that I was on fire is seeing my little puppy dog. And was immediately put into a stretcher and hauled off into the ambulance, where I was soon medevaced to JMS burn. It's in Augusta, Georgia. It's now one of the largest burn centers in the entire country, and they took great care of me. But the issue was, my dad was in Iraq at the time, and so their biggest thing is they wanted to keep me alive long enough for him to see me. And when I was first in there, they were like, listen, this kid's got a 1% chance of living, and we're just going to keep him alive enough for his dad to see him. But as each day went by, it just seemed like a little miracle would happen. They said, my kidneys would probably shut down for all the fluids that they were pumping in, and then they were fine, or my lungs were going to be burned because of how extensive it was, and they were perfectly fine. And each thing kind of happened to where it seemed like I was going to make it. And eventually they realized that he's going to pull through, but it's going to be a long process from here on out. And that was really it meant a lot to my family, obviously. But I was then put in a medically induced coma for about 2.5 months. And I woke up right on Valentine's Day. And again, the one thing that I always remember from all this is just the first things I ever see after all this. The first thing I saw was, a huge stuffed teddy bear and Happy Valentine's Day stuff everywhere. And so what ended up happening was, from there, I went, and I was supposed to be in the hospital for 9 to 12 months. Ended up leaving after 4 months. I left there, and it was huge. It was big for my family. They were happy. The doctors were amazed because they had never seen anything like this.
It's a miracle.
It was. It really was. And that's the whole thing, is everything kind of just lined up to where it was just one giant miracle with a bunch of little pieces put together at the end of the day. And so they were like, he's probably never going to be able to really play sports again, or, do stuff like that. And so that was really hard on me, because I was a 3-sport athlete in middle school, quarterback of the football team, played on the basketball team, and a huge lacrosse player. And you're telling a kid that's only known sports his whole life he's never going to play again. And it was hard.
Very traumatizing.
It was. And so the one thing that I really worked on was, I was like, even though they're doctors and they've dealt with this a lot of times, and they probably do know, I've always been a really stubborn kid. So I was like, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do, because it's my life. So at the end of the day, I had to, just look myself in the mirror and say, if this is what you want to do, then you're going to have to pay your dues and suck it up and deal with all the crap that you're going to have to put up with in order to get to where you want to go. And it was hard. It really was. I would spend 3-4 hours in the gym every day, and 9 months after being burned, I played in my first lacrosse game.
It's amazing.
And then won a state championship with my older brother as a sophomore. And it was just great. And just being back out on that field for the first time, it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever felt. Truly, just, you're stepping out on that field, and there's nothing like it. And it's really hard to tell kids, play every game like it's your last game. But honestly, I had felt what it would be like to play in my last game, and I honestly thought I was never going to be able to play lacrosse again. So when I had that opportunity to go out and play again, it was like, you just can't take it for granted. So now, whether it's a pickup scrimmage, whether it's a captain's practice here, whatever it is, I just want to go and play it like I never know when I'll play lacrosse again.
Welcome back into Panther Sports Monthly. I'm Austin Ford. Joining Jeff and I in studio today is Connor McKimmey, the man of the hour. Connor, thank you for coming in, my friend.
Thank you guys so much for.
You've been quoted as saying that High Point's a place that you said was going to change your life. What is it about the university that makes you feel that way?
Well, to me, just looking at schools over the past couple of years and figuring out where I wanted to go, I actually did a lot of surgeries in UNC, so I would be up here quite a lot passing High Point, and I remember hearing about it from a couple of friends who went there. And once I started finding more and more about the school, and it's so hard not to fall in love with the campus. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. But then really the main thing that brought me here was Dr. Cobain, and just being a great motivational speaker and changing people's lives through speaking and all the things that he's done over the couple of years. That was something that I wanted to learn from him and, follow in his footsteps. And really the thing that I wanted to do is be a motivational speaker and give back to the community that way, and be able to help young teens and anybody that's going through tough times, that I could speak to them and help them and influence them in a positive way. So when I found out that Dr. Cobain, heard my story, and got in contact with him, it was a win-win because I look up to him. He's an amazing guy. You know, it's one of the best feelings to go to the President's Seminar and sit up there and just hear him speak, and it inspires me every day just being here and talking to him and seeing everybody. And I think that was like the main thing that drew me to this campus, was just knowing that from here I can learn how to become the best at what I want to be, which is being a public speaker.
Mm-hmm. Now, this accident happened at a young age. How did you deal with unwanted attention, especially at that age?
I think for me it was really hard at first. I was never really a kid that liked to be out in the spotlight and liked to do, be a face of anything. And I think at first it was hard because it seemed like everybody wanted a little piece of me and wanted to just, thank me and whatnot, which was nice because, the community really supported me a ton throughout my years. They were always there praying and donating blood, donating money, whatever they could do to help. The community really gathered around me and really gave back. So it was nice to see everybody, but honestly, it was like everywhere I went, it was, hey, Connor, we were praying for you. And it was hard at first because I was still, trying to deal with the accident myself and deal with how can I move forward from here. And so I think seeing a lot of people all the time, it was hard, but it was something that I grew to get used to over time. And I really, really enjoy everyone that was always there for me. And I really respect the community that was there for me. I think they did a wonderful job in helping me become the best that I could be today.
What are some positives that you've taken out of this entire experience? I mean, you've grown up with most of your life, dealing with this. What are some things that you've taken away that you think are really going to benefit you moving forward?
Well, I think the main thing for me is maturity. I think at 13 years old, being told, hey, you're never going to be able to play sports again or do this, taking that and saying, this is my life, and taking hold of my life and saying, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do. And if I want to play sports, I'm going to do everything that I can to go play sports. And so I think having that maturity and knowing that, hey, you just dealt with something that no 13-year-old should ever have to deal with, and being able to use that in a positive way. I think now moving forward, I can use that and I can tell my story to kids and tell my story to even, families or anybody that has gone through adversity. It could really help them. And that's now the biggest positive I can take out of that, is that I can go out and I can explain my story to people and I can help progress. Nowadays kids can be very lazy and can, not always take the high road or do the best possible thing. And sometimes when the going gets tough, they like to just back out and just try something else, where if I can go out there and explain my story to people, and hopefully it'll help motivate them and keep people on the right track and just always working.
Well, Connor, we really appreciate your time, man, and we wish you the best of luck in everything, and look forward to seeing how things are going to move forward for you. So thank you so much for coming in with us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
And we'll be right back on Panther Sports Monthly.
Welcome back to Panther Sports Monthly. The art of college recruiting is detailed and time-consuming, but remains pivotal to the future success of college programs. Brian Brennan gives us an inside look at the nature of recruiting at a Division I institution.
It is a school of more than 4,000 students and 16 varsity athletics teams. But how do you recruit someone to play for those teams? Whether it's men's or women's sports, we found the process to be very different. A typical day in the life of HPU baseball coach Craig Cozart almost always involves recruiting. Baseball is unlike any other sport at High Point University, because when you recruit an athlete, there is a chance that they could possibly go to the Major League Baseball draft as opposed to attending college. It's up to Coach Cozart and his staff to remind a player why they should get their education as opposed to going pro right away.
When you talk about MLB having a draft of 40 rounds in a given year, you try to sign the best possible player that you can, but there's always the chance that they get drafted out of high school or out of junior college, and you may never actually see them on campus. So that's one real issue.
Cozart says his goal as a coach is to make a player realize that professional baseball is a completely different world from college, and they may not be ready for it.
College is such a different atmosphere than professional baseball. Professional baseball is the real world. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a difficult world, especially at the lower levels of minor league baseball. Whereas if you come to High Point University, you're in a supportive atmosphere. Things are much more structured, and you have a chance to mature over a 3 to 4 year period before you enter that world of Major League Baseball.
Infielder Mike Mijanowski is one of those players who had a very difficult decision to make, whether to go professional after being drafted by the Baltimore Orioles or to go to High Point University.
There's a lot of things you have to take into consideration before making a decision to take your talent either to college or to the professional level. One of the biggest things for me was if I were to go professional to the Orioles, not having a degree under my belt when I got done. So High Point University, being the school that it is, gave me the opportunity to keep playing baseball and better myself, and to also get an education under my belt in 4 years.
When it comes to women's sports, especially basketball, the recruiting process is completely different from baseball. We sat down with Coach Deanna Hendricks to find out more.
When we say recruiting a student athlete, we're recruiting their coaches, we're recruiting their family. I mean, it's recruiting their best friends. So it's all in any information that we can get on a student athlete throughout the process. So, I mean, we might talk to a kid, you know, NCAA rules only allow us to talk to a kid their junior year, starting their junior year. Well, freshman and sophomore years, we're talking to coaches and AAU high school coaches, and then talking to them junior year. So any connections that we can get within the recruiting process, we try to use throughout the whole 4 years.
In baseball, the roadblock may be the draft, whereas in basketball, a player may choose to go to junior college first to help out with their grades and their basketball ability.
They might just choose to go that route to develop. So they might go for 1 or 2 years and develop. Again, it's just doing the research early and figuring out who's going to end up where, and then following up with that. We do go to 3 or 4 JUCO tournaments a year. That's sort of how we found Latrice Phelps, and then a kid coming in next year, just going to those JUCO events throughout the year and following their progress till they graduate.
The recruiting process may be different in all sports. However, wherever a student athlete chooses to play, the decision falls on them. For Panther Sports Monthly, I'm Brian Brennan.
Thank you, Brian, for that insider's look. College rowers at the Division I level make up nearly 2.5% of all college athletes, with an even smaller number of rowers participating at the club level. But at High Point University, a group of students have taken what was once just their high school passion and turned it into a growing club sport on campus. Graham Billings brings us the story of one of the newest groups at High Point University.
2 years ago, High Point University and a few of their students had a dream to one day have a rowing team. Today, we take an exclusive look in to how that dream has now become a reality.
The High Point University crew team now features nearly 50 members and is working hard to push their athletes from club to a Division I level. I spoke to one of the founding members, Sophia Andredos, about how the thriving crew team came to be.
It got started in 2011, my freshman year. Me and my best friend from Fairfax High School, we came to the school together and we decided that we wanted to start a rowing team.
What started as a team with only a dozen members has now become a well-respected club on campus, not only competing, but teaching newcomers the ins and outs of team rowing.
It's so exciting seeing so many new people come out, starting with like 12 people and no coach, and just making an impact on the new people it's been amazing.
Hey guys, I'm here with Caleb. He's the captain of the High Point rowing team. Caleb, it's kind of windy out here, starting to rain, but yet you guys are still out here. Tell me about it.
Yeah, this is basically your High Point club rowing. We're looking to go D1 the next coming year, so we're out here every day training hard, getting better. Of course, the wind and rain does cause a little bit of problems, but nothing we can't handle, nothing we can't push through. Basically, it's an exciting time. Everyone's looking to have fun and improve themselves.
Starting from finish to catch. Finish to catch. So how did club rowing gain so much popularity amongst High Point students?
I was really just looking to get back into shape and get into working out again, and one of my really good friends rowed before, and she told me it's a great workout, and it was something I never did before. I had played basically every sport besides this, so I was really nervous.
Yeah. We were a little bit of an ambitious freshman. We went straight to Nito Cobain with our idea. We went with a full proposal, and we basically handed it to him and said, we need $100,000 to start a team. Do you think the school could support us? And his answer was yes.
Wow. In the upcoming years, High Point crew hopes to move up to the Division I level. Next month, they will be traveling to New England to face some of the top crew teams in the country.
Our biggest and most recent upcoming regatta is going to be the Charles, which is in Boston. We're very excited to go. It's a very big deal. All the Ivy Leagues will be there, so we're very honored to have been able to get a bid and take 2 crews.
Sitting at the finish, getting ready to row.
High Point has earned multiple wins on the season, all leading up to their biggest test on the Charles River in downtown Boston. Boston.
It's the ultimate team sport. If one person is off in the boat, your whole boat is off. So as long as everyone is clicking together, working together, there's nothing like it. There's no other sport that is this team-oriented, and to be a part of that and to be the captain of that it's something you can't compare to.
The future looks bright for HB rowers as they continue to improve and work to accomplish their dream of becoming a Division I athletic program.
Big thanks to Graham for sharing the story of the newest water sport on High Point's campus. On the other side of the break, we will bring you up to date on the progress of High Point University's Division I programs. We will look at the dynamic play of men's soccer star Mamadi Naipon, the fast-paced action of the women's volleyball team, and the quest for back-to-back regular season titles by the women's soccer program. Jeff Gilley back with you on Panther Sports Monthly. The HPU volleyball team has been on a tear, winning three of their matches as Big South Conference play has begun. The Panthers, 8-10 overall, sit in a four-way tie for second place at 2-1 in the conference, thanks to back-to-back road wins against Coastal Carolina and Charleston Southern. Junior Chelsea Davis has led the attack for the Panthers, topping the conference with 4.38 kills per set, nearly an entire kill per set more than the next closest attacker. Sophomore Anne-Marie Chin has been vital to the Panthers, leading the Big South in digs per set, while junior Katie Vincent ranks second in the Big South in blocks per set. High Point kicks off a four-game homestand on October 11th against fellow second-place squad Radford, while welcoming conference-leading Presbyterian College into the Millis Center to wrap up the homestand on October 19th.
The women's soccer team is off to a strong start in Big South Conference play with a 3-1 record that is good enough for a top 3 spot in the early season standings. The Panthers stand at 5-6 overall after winning 5 of their last 6 matches, most recently a 3-2 victory over the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina. Redshirt freshman Kelsey Perrell leads High Point with 5 goals and 12 points, while senior Becca Himby's 4 assists ties for first in assists in the conference. Senior Jessie May has been strong in net, posting 3 shutouts while starting every match but one for the Panthers. High Point looks to continue its hot play on a 3-game road trip against conference foes Longwood, Liberty, and UNC Asheville before coming back to Vert Stadium on October the 19th for a match against the first-place Radford Highlanders.
While the men's soccer team has struggled in the first half of the 2013 campaign, Mamadi Naipon has certainly cemented himself as one of the top players in the Big South Conference. Naipon's 10 goals lead the Panthers and the Big South in goals, as the team stands at 3-6-1 through 10 matches and 1-1-1 in conference play after a crushing double overtime defeat at home against 12th-ranked Coastal Carolina. Austin Yearwood leads the Panthers in the Big South with 6 assists as the Panthers go on the road to face UNC Asheville and West Virginia in the coming week's action. Freshman Ryan Massey and redshirt sophomore Cody Palmer have anchored the keeper position for the Panthers, with Palmer pitching 2 shutouts in his 5 starts. High Point will next play at Vert Stadium October 19th, welcoming the Winthrop Eagles for a pivotal match against the rivals from Rock Hill, South Carolina.
As we wind down the first edition of Panther Sports Monthly, we bring you the top 5 plays for the month of September in our inaugural Panther Sports Monthly Top 5. At number 5, Brandon Sloan's free kick goal against Elon was the freshman's first goal of his High Point career as the Panthers fell 4-1 to their triad rivals, the Phoenix.
Coming in at number 4, junior Chelsea Davis with a huge block against Elon in a 5-set victory over the Phoenix. The win is one of 8 this season for the Panthers.
For our number 3 top play, Mamadi Naipon's goal in the 2nd minute against Liberty helped the Panthers to a 3-1 victory over the Flames. It was one of 10 goals Naipon has scored this season for the Panthers.
And at number 2, just missing the top spot, junior Taylor Parker with not 1, not 2, but 3 goals to propel the Panthers to a 6-0 victory over VMI.
And at number 1, Wayne Wands of the Big South Network has the call.
And it's Sarah 7-8! High Point wins! High Point wins! High Point wins! What a goal!
That does it for the first edition of Panther Sports Monthly, produced by the High Point University chapter of the NSSA.
We thank you for tuning in and encourage you to check out next month's edition for more exciting plays, insightful stories, and in-depth interviews from the world of athletics on High Point University's campus. I'm Jeff Gilley.
And I'm Austin Ford. Thanks, and until next time, this is Panther Sports Monthly.